Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Tayport Breakers Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Keith, and today I'm joined by one of our newer players, but familiar to many in the team, Ross Dalton. Ross, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
No, thanks for coming on. It's good to have you in the team. So we'll just jump right into it. A little bit about yourself in baseball as a fan. What got you interested in the sport, and who do you support?
I'm not really sure as to when I got into the sport. I just remember I think it was sort of a mutual connection with my love of American sports in general. I felt like it was something I should probably end up watching at some point. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a massive New York Jets fan, and like NFL for a sport to watch is my first passion by a mile. I heard Danny say that in the Week 1 podcast that everyone speaks about football all the time, and sort of it seemed as though baseball was everyone's second coming to American sports rather than their first. I can certainly attest that for myself as well. But I think the Mets were just... I say this all the time now. I feel like I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't really support any American teams who do well. So when the Mets... I've been a Mets fan since like 2008, 2009. And the first real success I've ever seen the team have was the 2015 World Series, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But Jets and Mets and Knicks and the Canucks as well, because I support Canucks from Vancouver because I used to live there. And none of them have ever done well.
Yeah.
So
a bit of a New York guy around
that. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, perfect. So interest in playing baseball, was there ever any interest in playing from when you were younger, or was it just when you found out about baseball in Scotland, basically?
So growing up in a little rural sort of like village where it was sort of like very, very well off, I think there was quite a large push for, especially from people like Scottish cricket and stuff, to come and try and get people to come and play. I think we had Scottish rugby as well come in more than we had football teams and stuff to try and recruit players to come and do stuff like that. And I think that firstly with cricket, I wasn't a huge fan of it. It was never my sort of sport. I think it was just a bit too slow and a bit too, not for me. But I loved playing rounders at school, and that was how they tried to get us to go and play cricket, was to play this first. And I thought the other branch off to baseball was more fun. Obviously, met yourself and Ross and a couple other guys when try to set up a team in Dundee, and that was my first real foray into baseball as a player. And as soon as I played it, I loved it from the first minute. It was the sport I wanted to play more than any other one, even playing American football and me being in my younger years a pretty good mountain biker. It's the one that I enjoyed more than any other one. And yeah, I think coming to Tayport now is, I think it's just a perfect time, and it allows me to sort of see what I can do in the league when we start up again.
Yeah, I think the comparison to cricket, like you're saying in rounders, when you look at cricket, it's the same premise. It's about stop-start, but the energy in baseball kind of tends to come through a little bit more. You see the intensity in high leverage situations, as they call them, and like that intensity, you don't really see it much in cricket because they're playing it over not 3 hours but 3 days. It's kind of dulled down a bit. But yeah, that's kind of one of the big things that I've noticed with talking with people that do play like cricket. I've got a family member that plays cricket, and he's aware of what baseball is like, but he thinks it's maybe too intense for him. He prefers the long, monotonous, 5.
Yeah, I mean, I've got half my family from England, and my one of my grandparents used to be a groundkeeper for a cricket club in Sheffield, and yeah, they never understood baseball. They could never get it. It wasn't a sport for them, I don't think. Cricket's too confusing for me. Like overs, and just give me a score. Just give me just 1, 2, 3. Like a lot easier. I prefer that to. I think it's just that sport that sort of. I think it's easy to understand. It's easy to sit and have a couple of drinks with your friends and watch a game and not have to be so intense. I think that's an enjoyable experience. I mean, intense when you're playing it. Don't get me wrong, I'm as intense playing it as I would be playing anything else. But I think watching it, it's just nice to have a chilled out time and not really be too focused on what's going on. And I mean, especially with what's been happening the last couple of years in MLB with Tatis and all these young guys coming through like Vlad Guerrero and stuff. I think it's adding more excitement to the game, and I think it's only going to do well for it. And I think it's going to bring more people in to watch it, because people I know who have refused to watch it have been like, it's too boring. There's not enough going on. And I think they added something to it it's been screaming for, to be honest. So, yeah.
I think that's something that we've talked about in the team, about our attitude to playing the game. You know, we have Jason, who grew up, in the South of America, and it's very much a hard-ass baseball area, as they call it. It's follow the unwritten rules, keep your line, keep on the line, and keep yourself focused and away from all distractions. But the Latin flair, like say Tatis, Baez, even when you go back a little bit, Molina brought that in very early as well. You can go back, even American like Ken Griffey Jr., they both they all had it, and that kind of attracted people to them. And what attracts people to individuals will attract people to the sport. And I think that's what we're kind of looking for in the team. We want to have good attitudes, but at the same time, you want to have fun, right? There's nothing wrong with flipping a bat.
Yeah, I mean, it's the big thing being a Mets fan. We saw with Reyes when he was on the Mets. He was that sort of flashy-ish player who did all these things. But I think that he obviously wasn't quite as young when he broke through as being this great shortstop in New York for those couple of years. Not long enough. But I think that, I think these guys are all coming through, and I think they're more questioning of what the establishment of the MLB is saying and how things need to be. I think you see that quite a lot with trying to hit for the fences on a 3-0 count when you're up, trying to I think it's a breath of fresh air. I think baseball's been stifled too much by ceremony. I think it needs to go the way of things like the NFL and NHL and stuff, and sort of try and get away from that. NBA it needs to evolve a bit more than what it has, and I think they're only going to be good for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, so bringing it back to the Breakers a little bit, like I said on the introduction, you are kind of new to the team, but not new to half of the team. Basically, they did try to play in Dundee. How did you end up in Tayport? And I know the story, but could you share it for the others that are watching for the first time?
So I moved to Edinburgh about 2 years ago to go and work and live, I suppose. And I had fully intended when I went through to go and play for one of the Edinburgh teams, but just being where I lived and the job that I do, it was just too much commitment to be going and traveling through to their diamond every week or twice a week. So I just ended up not bothering, and I sort of just stayed in Edinburgh. All my baseball stuff was in my flat in Edinburgh, and I didn't have a chance to use any of it. I moved back to Dundee about a year ago, and a couple of months ago, Ross ended up messaging me asking if I was back in Dundee and if I'd be interested in coming along. And I was basically saying to him, yeah, I was actually going to message you and see what the script was with everything, how everything was going, and how the process into the league and stuff was going, because I was a bit disheartened after what happened in Dundee with me being there for almost two and a half years and nothing really coming of it. And Ross was basically just like, yeah, we're plowing forward. We're going to be joining the league. We're going to be joining the league. We're in the league. Jason's a great guy. He knows what he's doing, and everyone that you got along with when we were playing together in Dundee is there as well. So it's sort of just a perfect storm, I suppose, for me coming back. It was just the right time. Everything was just fell into place, and Ross just so happened to message me, and I was more than happy to come back and give it another go.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll give the coaches backside of it. So we've obviously known you, like I said, since 2015. And we were honestly at the point where we realized we had a good squad and a decent size, but we kind of needed maybe an extra couple of players to bring in just to kind of pad out in case, there's dropouts or a whole host of things through a season like work. And we went, right, so who do we know from the area that, hasn't been since we started the team? And we listed off maybe 3 guys, and you were top of the list. And I went, he's in Edinburgh though, isn't he? And Bash went on your Facebook, and he's like, he's working at a bar in Dundee, this says. And I was like, no, he's in Edinburgh. So he just fired you a message, and sure enough, right out it comes, and it's perfect timing for everybody, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on a little bit to Major Leagues. The season started. We're just under 2 weeks into the season now. You're a Mets fan, as you said. How do you find the start of the season going?
I don't know. It's been difficult. I think it's been difficult mainly because for the first time, I think in a long time, a lot of Mets fans have been excited about a season starting. I think that the acquisition of the team by Steve Cohen, I think, has given a lot of people a lot of hope for what could potentially happen with the team. I think I'm one of the Ebenezer Scrooge of Mets fans who never believed that it was going to become this overnight sensation where we're gonna win the East, and we were going to become this dominant powerhouse, and we were going to destroy the Braves. And I was never under the illusion that any of this was going to happen. And I think that we're waiting. I think we'll wait until next season and see what's going to happen. This obviously the start's not been particularly great. Dropping games to the Phillies and the Marlins especially was upsetting, but I think we're improving better than we ever did under the Wilpons, which is good. And I think that only time will tell how good we can become. Obviously, we're still missing pitchers. 2 starting pitchers are still out. So I think when they come back, it could be different. The big problem for us right now is our bats, and we've not got anyone missing from that rotation right now. So that's the problem. I think need to have some consistency with batting. I think once that happens, we can do some things that hopefully will be impressive. Just hopefully not too late.
Yeah. Looking at it, you've got Thor, no Syndergaard coming back. Possibly, they're saying as little as 3 to 4 weeks. He's already thrown on a mound again. That would be a big improvement for you guys. A guy maybe that could, at this point, coming back from Tommy John, slot into the 3rd spot in your rotation. He would naturally be a 2nd, but coming back on the 3rd spot would be pretty huge. What about the signing of, or should I say, the trade for Carrasco and Lindor? What have you made of those 2 so far?
Carrasco obviously not been very much to see from him because of his injury. So we've not really had I'm excited for him. I personally think that it was a bit of a fleecing of Cleveland for those 2. I can't quite believe we got both of them for what we gave up. I mean, I get Rosario and stuff are good proven players, but to get arguably one of the best shortstops in the league, if not the best, and one of the top 30 starting pitchers in the league, it's a real boon, the fact we've been able to do that. I understand why they wanted to get rid of Lindor. Like, there was no way they were going to be able to re-sign him. They wanted to get something for him, but Carrasco being in that trade as well is, it's been good. As for the performances so far, Lindor's been a bit up and down. I think he's just trying to get settled into the team and the rotation, and I think everyone's hitting's a bit off with us having new players in, like McCann. Hasn't been particularly fantastic batting wise so far, and I don't expect anyone to be perfectly synergized together right now. I think we need to wait a little bit to see what happens and how it develops, but so far locking down Lindor for 10 years has been great news to start the season off. Just need to wait to see how Carrasco does when he comes back from his injury. Hopefully not too long, and he should get in quite late in the rotation as well, which will be good to see.
Yeah, I think going by the podcasts, or should I say the YouTube clips, and what has been said by Trevor Bauer, one of our idols we look up and kind of enjoy the content he puts out. He says that Carrasco, even if he doesn't perform as a player, he's just a great guy to have around the clubhouse. He's a great leader, but a great calming influence for a lot of the younger players that he's got around him.
I think it's a similar thing with Lindor. I mean, I remember when we traded for Stroman, the thing that was coming out of Toronto the whole time was like, he's a cancer in the locker room. Players hate playing with him. No one likes to be around him. He's just disruptive. He's not going to be this guy who's going to come in and create a good atmosphere in the dressing room. And he comes to New York, and we hear the exact opposite of that. We hear he's a great guy. Everyone loves him. He helps his teammates. He's this guy that everyone wants to be around. And I think that we're hearing the same thing from Lindor now as well. He was out on his way out of Cleveland. Everyone was saying he's this guy no one wants to be around. He's not a team player. He's this sort of, again, like cancer in the dressing room. And he comes to New York and everyone loves him. He's this great guy. Everyone wants to be around him. Everyone wants to spend time with him. He's had a massive bond with Steve Cohen, which I find a bit weird, but like he just seems to be this guy that people want to be around. And I think that having those kind of guys, Carrasco especially, in the dressing room, who are going to be guys who push the teammates and support them and just build that chemistry, I think is what the Mets have been missing.
Yeah, I did find those rumors a bit weird. Cleveland spent all this time bigging up Francisco Lindor as Mr. Smile.
Yeah. And
the positive guy, and then just as he's on the way out, bad guy, you don't want him. It's just so transparent that, it's a bit of saving face in the PR for the local media, basically.
I find it strange. I think it's become this thing in American sports where it seems to be that you say everything good about a guy until he's gone, and then once he's gone, it's like you're dead to me or nothing. I think the only time we've recently seen it where it's not been the case is with JJ Watt, and when he's gone to Arizona. Obviously, the Houston Texans didn't say a bad word about him; only had good things to say. But yeah, I think it's American sports has changed, where it used to be this cold sort of calculated decision making where they would get rid of players whenever they needed to, and it was a business. But I think now it's become less about like, we'll give you a handshake and a congratulations and all these nice things when you leave, and more of a, you didn't do anything for us. We didn't win the World Series when we played the Cubs, so it's your fault, and we're gonna give you a load of abuse for that. And I think I think it's changed.
Yeah, pretty difficult. Okay, we're going to bring it back to the Breakers a little bit. We're going to do a quick fire round that will involve the team, a little bit about yourself, and a little bit about the sport of baseball, okay? So I'm just looking for a one-word description of the players on the list. You will know everybody on this list because it's the players that you played with in Dundee. Okay, first off, Damien Edgar.
Oh, dangerous. I know Damien's danger firsthand. So I'll go with dangerous for Damien for sure.
That's why you've got a nice new batting helmet.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Scott Black.
Oh, I'd say cheerful. He's every single time I've been to a training with him, he's been the happiest guy there by a mile. I think fantastic. Like doing catching training with him this past weekend was great. He's always got so much that he can tell me about things that I don't know about what's going on in baseball. It's great. I think, but yeah, like he's always got the energy when we go to training for just anything. Funny guy, I think. It's probably a good way to describe him.
If you put his name out around the league, you'd get a lot of different answers because Scott is a chameleon, but he's a lovable chameleon at that. We'll go with myself next. Stab me in the back. I still want somebody to stab me in the back here.
Statistician. I'd go with statistician. I have to pick one. I think I've never met anyone sort of as into the numbers and the lines as you in any sport, and I think that like that's how I see myself with the NFL massively. Is like I did draft analysis for the UK New York Jets fan group, like the biggest one. It's the biggest fan group outside of America for most sports teams, and I did draft analysis for them. So I'm way into my mathematics and my stat lines and everything. But I think it pales in comparison to you. So I think that's probably the best way I can describe you by a mile.
Yeah, we had a conversation during the past week there that kind of showed me that you understand stats, you understand the data, but you're definitely like focused on the NFL a lot more for that. That was a great conversation. Next up, we'll go with the head coach, Ross. We'll go for Bash.
Oh. See, I want to say Swagger, but at the same time, I don't, because I'm gunning for that crown this year. I think that
you think I've never seen anyone in the team.
I've never seen anyone now. Like I've never seen anyone have the drip that Ross has. Like, I mean, like that ice cream cone glove is like
Yeah.
Nice. It's nice. It is nice. Like, I'm not gonna disrespect him. He's always got nice stuff, and I think it's dangerous for me because it always pushes me to want to spend way more money than I want to on things to look nice. But this is my warrant to him now. I'll do it on the podcast. I'm coming for him. This is my year to take it. I'm gonna be coming for that crown for sure.
Yeah, so the podcast will be having an episode probably in about a month's time, just before the start of the season. A little bit heads up, what's in your bag 2021. That'll be pretty wild when you guys get to dive into Bash's bag and see what sticks he's got. And
I hope my mitten stuff has arrived by then, to be honest.
yeah, all the swag. But it's definitely like there's a core group in this team that, maybe I'll just use team gloves or, buy one glove like a Wilson or a Rawlings. But there's a group of maybe 5 or 6 of us that are gunning for that swag title this year. Definitely. And last but not least, we'll give you Jason. We'll throw up the GM just to make it easy.
I'd just say like chilled. He's a really chilled dude. Like all the conversations I've had with him, he's just been so chilled out about everything, like really down to earth, even especially with everything he's got going on in regards to like how much work he's putting into the team to get everything set up, the diamond right, to get funding, to get everything. Like, I was speaking to him a couple of weeks ago about everything he's done and how much work he's had to put in to get funding, and like it is surprising as to how much effort he's put in, and for how chilled out he is about how everything's going and everything that's going on. I'm surprised. I definitely wouldn't be that chilled out. I'd be on edge all the time. But I think he's a really chilled out guy, and just decent guy to be around, I think.
Yeah, definitely what we probably needed in Dundee back in the day. Somebody to kind of organise a lot. So a quick round on yourself. TVs or movies?
Probably TV.
What's your favourite TV show at the moment?
At the moment, I've just finished that documentary on Samurai. I'm a massive history buff, so I think I'd probably go with that. It's called Age of Samurai on Netflix. It's pretty good.
Cool. There's a good recommendation. I'll pop that in the over your face for a minute so people can see that. What's your favorite word to use? Remember, this is PG.
Oh, that makes it so much harder then. I don't know. It's difficult because I've got such a varied vocabulary from just being just general life and then also on the bar. So it just changes all the time. I think I'm probably more used to saying stuff like "How you doing?" and just greeting people. So I'd say like for words, probably just like general greetings would be probably the thing I say more often than not.
Yeah.
Mainly because, or thank you.
That's
probably it. Mainly because I have to do it every day at work. So that's probably it. So yeah, I think everyone knows me. It's not really the kind of person I am when I'm like I'm not that chilled out sort of like PG person. So I think
What's your most used emoji on your phone?
Probably the 2 eyes. I think the eyes emoji is probably my I think the eyes emoji is probably my most used one on my phone for sure.
Just a little innocent bystander there, sure. Yeah. Okay, and do you have any hidden talents that you want to share with the world that will no longer be hidden?
I mean, I don't know. I've mentioned it. Probably the one I would probably go for. I mentioned it earlier. I don't necessarily think it's like a hidden talent. I used to be a pretty good cyclist when I was younger, competing in Scottish and British series. Not totally different from what I do now. No team, not really a team sport at all. Totally individualistic, but probably that. Getting hurt could be a hidden talent as well, I suppose. I get hurt quite a lot. Like broken so many bones in my body and hands and stuff. So I think mountain biking or hurting myself.
Perfect, man. Back to baseball. If you could throw one pitch perfectly all the time, what would it be?
Oh, knuckleball for sure.
Love it.
100%. Like that Dicky knuckleball that he was throwing when he was with Toronto and when he was with us. Yeah, I couldn't think of any pitch I'd want to throw. That would be that. It's just so nasty.
Yeah. If you could steal one attribute from any player on our team, what would it be and who would it be?
Oh. Well, I mean, like, when I get my fitness back, I'll probably have my speed back, so I don't want to steal that off anyone, but probably Damien's arm strength. I know it's been said already, but yeah, like, arm strength of Damien. I wouldn't want his accuracy because it's awful, but the arm strength for sure would be something that would be nice, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're working at Butchers and you're throwing around half a cow. Okay, what scares you most on the field?
Because it's happened to me before, probably getting hit in the face with a ball, for sure. It's a fear I need to get out of my head. You notice it when I go for grounders all the time. Like, I'm always skeptical about it. I've been getting better the last couple of weeks about going down and getting them and not being so scared. But yeah, like having a part of your lip come off when you get hit in the face with a ball, I think instills that fear in you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, definitely. And as a fan of a team in the NL, this is the big one: DH or no DH?
Oh, no DH. No DH.
Good man.
Definitely no DH.
Like, that's not a hard question if you're a fan of
our pitchers can bat as well. Like, DeGrom can bat, Syndergaard can bat. Like, yeah, no DH. Don't need a DH.
Good answer, man. Okay, you are in our fantasy league, which is finished week 1, just finished. You might not want to own up to it, having been a low scorer of the week.
Yeah.
But yeah, the week's one over. How did that go? What do you think about your game this week? You were against Damien, right?
Damien. Yeah. I mean, from like the third day of the season, like I knew I was going to lose. Like, having my first 2 picks go out injured.
Yeah.
Like, it was never going to go well. And then end of the week as well, like Stroman's game being called off hurt more because I then lost more points that I would have got otherwise. Yeah, I mean, not a great week, but I suppose injuries are something you can't really help, and neither is the rain. But,
yeah.
Started off this week quite well, so happy about that. But,
yeah, I think not many teams could kind of cope with Bellinger and Tatis going down.
Yeah,
that's like just a hammer blow. What was the score in the end? The score in the end was 862, the lowest score of any team this week, to 942, which was the lowest winning score, and in fact the third lowest score. So Damien just absolutely luck boxed it there against you, drawing that way. Top scorer for yourself was DJ LeMahieu, 62 points.
I know. No one really scored that high for me.
That's not massive.
I find remarkable because Tyler Glasnow just had a 42.5 point game for me last night on his own. So Bash can't be very happy about that. But
no. Yeah. So looking at the scores, I'll put it up over my face right now for people that are watching it back. The scores were myself against David 907 to myself 1014. The Tayside Triple J's 1020 to Backflips and Parrots. That's Greg's team. 1033 was the winner. As I just said, 862 for Ross Dalton against Damien's 942, and Team Ross Marnie 1005 beat Jordan Harris's team on 951. Top scorer for the week amongst the teams was Musgrove. So that's kind of not much of a surprise, actually, looking at the schedule. 94 points, then Acuna for me at 83. That's, I'll take that. So who have you got this week? You've got Bash this week.
Yeah.
Tough one. I mean, he's just squeaked the win. You thinking you can pull it out this week? Have you looked at your pitcher schedules so far?
Partly. I've not been looking too in depth this week yet. I'm probably going to have a look after we finish recording this and go through everything that I've got and see what's going on. I looked at how our players did last night. Zach Greinke had a horrible game, so he started off well with -1.5 points for Bash. So I think if the pitching's anything to go by from last night, hopefully it'll carry over for the rest of my pitching rotation for for the rest of the week, and hopefully it'll carry over for him as well. And he has an awful week, and then he can get back to it next week after I'm not playing him.
I think you're hoping that Bash's week for pitching goes almost as slow as Greenkey's Ethos pitch from last night.
Yeah,
51 miles an hour, very impressive.
I saw people talking about it and being like, how can't a big leaguer hit a 51 mile an hour pitch? And I was like, well, when you're expecting a 95 mile an hour wind up like fastball,
yeah,
different when you see one half the speed.
It's like you're expecting Greinke to throw maybe, high 80s. Then he pulls out the Ethos at 51, Like, if you even watch it back, by the way, guys, it's a little one MLB. I might try and put it up on the screen. We'll see if we can kind of do that. But yeah, the batter just looks at it and doesn't even attempt to swing. There's no leg kick. It's just, he's just thrown an Ethos pitch. I can't hit it.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible. So this week will be close. So we've got the 4 winners there up at the table up in front of me right now. What's your thoughts for the rest of the season then for the majors? What are you thinking? Who are we taking in the NL? Who are we taking in the AL? What's the World Series going to be right now?
For World Series, I think it would be foolish to write off the Dodgers at any point right now for the NL. I think even though they're going through a bit of a rough spell, I think it's always they're just too stacked. I think they're always just too stacked, the team, to be able to write them off. I think the AL is just a bit too tight to be able to call who's going to go in. I wouldn't have said that Tampa was going to make it last year, and they did. So I think that I don't know. Go Tampa again. Like Glasnow's been pitching fantastically and stuff. So I think if their pitching really gets going, I think they can. I think they can probably take over and like get it going. I think other than them, probably, I don't know. I'd like to see the Angels do well. I want to see Trout like finally do something.
Finally get a second series in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see them go far. So I'll say the Angels as well. But as long as it's not the Yankees, I don't really care.
Oh, after that poor start they've had, it's going to be a rough one for them.
As long as the Yankees like die, I honestly I don't care what else happens in the AL. Like,
see, I kind of feel the same way about the White Sox, but I don't really care that much about them.
See, I think the problem for me is like growing up watching the Mets be this big market team who should have loads of money to throw around, not throw their money around, and then watching the Yankees do exactly that and develop hardly anyone. Yeah. It's frustrating to watch, and it adds to the fact that they're. Yeah, I think at the same time, I was thinking about this earlier as well. I think with the Wilpons being like massive Giants fans growing up, I think it's really they've tried to bring that history into the Mets as well. Like, obviously, Citi Field looks just like Ebbets Field. It looks exactly the same. I think the hatred that was there just sort of transitions through to us as well. So I don't like Boston either. So Boston can lose all the rest of their game as well. I wouldn't care. But that hatred comes from my football team rather than anything else.
Perfect. And just 3 last questions for you. Going to the Breakers and the 2021 season, now that our schedule is out, which is, again, going to be full screen right here, right now. How do you think you're going to bat this year? So batting average, on-base percentage, and yes or no, will you hit a dinger?
Batting average, high 100s. I'm not expecting to bat that well. My batting's never been a strong point for me. I think my on base could be quite high. I can draw walks quite well. I'm quite composed when it comes to being at the plate. I know when to and when not to swing at pitches. And I think for a dinger, I never in a million years. It's never going to happen. Unless I can get Damien's power, actually can get the power, then I've just not got that kind of swing to be able to hit for the fences.
I'll need to get you to the gym then, man. I'll need to get you. But other than that, that's us. Thanks very much for coming on, Ross. Do you have anything you want to plug?
No, not really. My bartending maybe, but like that's a secret, and you have to find out where I work. So
you don't even want to share that?
Oh no, like I can't tell you, otherwise I'll have to kill you.
Secret bartender. There we are. Ross, thanks very much for coming on, mate.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Cheers, mate.